You're standing in a gas station at 9:47 p.m. on a Wednesday. The numbers on your phone match the numbers on the crumpled ticket in your hand, all 6 of them. $750 million. You read it again, then again. Your heart isn't racing. That's the strange part. You feel nothing, just a low hum in your ears, and the fluorescent lights above you making everything look like a dream you're watching happen to someone else. You walk to your car without buying anything. You sit in the driver's seat for 11 minutes before you remember to lock the doors. Nobody knows yet. The ticket is in your wallet. Your wallet is in your jacket. Your jacket is too thin for November, but you haven't noticed the cold since you checked the numbers. You drive home going exactly the speed limit. Every red light feels like it lasts an hour. You park in your driveway. You do not go inside yet. Here's what happens in the first 24 hours. You don't tell anyone. Not your spouse, not your parents, not your best friend who texts you at 11 p.m. asking if you want to grab drinks Friday. You reply, "Yeah, sounds good," because you don't know what else to say. You put the ticket in a fireproof lockbox you bought 3 years ago for documents you never actually stored. You sleep for 2 hours. You wake up at 4:30 a.m. and check that the ticket is still there. It is. By 8 a.m. you've called a lawyer. Not your cousin who does real estate closings. A lawyer who handles lottery winners. Yes, that is a specialization. His name is Richard. He costs $950 an hour. You do not care about the price anymore. That is the first time you realize the number in your hand has already changed the way you think. Richard tells you 3 things immediately. 1, do not sign the ticket yet. 2, set up a trust, or LLC, before you claim. 3, take the lump sum. The annuity sounds safe, but inflation will eat it. The lump sum after taxes is around $380 million. You thought $750 million meant $750 million. It does not. The government takes 37% federal. Your state takes another slice. What's left is still more money than your brain has language for. Richard connects you with a financial advisor named Miranda and a tax attorney named Paul. You have a call with both of them by 2 p.m. that same day. They speak in terms you've never heard: irrevocable trusts, asset protection vehicles, generation skipping transfer tax. You nod like you understand. You understand nothing. They tell you this is normal. Miranda asks you one question that you weren't ready for. What do you want this money to do? You don't have an answer. You thought the answer was obvious. Buy things. Be comfortable. Stop worrying. But she's asking something different. She's asking what the structure of your life looks like now. You realize you have no idea. By day 2, people know. You haven't told anyone, but people know. Your brother calls and asks if you're okay. You say yes. He says he heard a winner was sold at the gas station near your house. You say that's crazy. He agrees. Then he pauses and says, "But if it was you, you'd tell me, right?" You lie and say, "Of course." Your phone starts lighting up in a way it never has before. Texts from people you haven't spoken to in years. A second cousin. A guy you worked with in 2015. Your old manager from a job you quit 6 years ago. Nobody says the word lottery. Everyone asks how you've been. Everyone mentions they've been thinking about you. One person sends you a business plan for a coffee shop. You have never discussed coffee or business with this person ever. This is the part nobody tells you about. The money hasn't even hit your account yet. And you've already become something different to the people around you. Not a person, an opportunity, and you haven't even seen the first dollar yet. You stop answering the phone. Not because you're rude, because you don't know what truth sounds like anymore. Everyone wants something, and the ones who say they don't are the ones who want the most. You meet with Miranda again on day 4. She walks you through what's called a wealth preservation strategy. You'll never touch the full $380 million directly. It sits inside a structure. The structure pays you. She recommends you take a monthly draw of $400,000 to start. You almost laugh. That's not starting small. That's more than your last 3 years combined. But she's serious. Spending too much too fast is how lottery winners go broke. You've read the stories. So has she. You agree to the structure. The money hits your account on a Tuesday. You check your banking app 14 times that day. The number doesn't feel real even when it's sitting there in serif font on a white screen. You buy your mum a house that week, not a mansion. A 4-bedroom in a neighborhood she liked when you were growing up. You pay cash? $640,000. She cries for 20 minutes in the driveway. Your father doesn't say anything. He walks to the backyard and stands there looking at the grass. You realize later he was imagining a garden. You buy yourself a car, not a Bugatti, a Tesla Model S. It feels like enough. You take your wife to Italy for 2 weeks. Business class, 5-star hotels, restaurants, where the menu has no prices. She keeps asking if you're sure. You stop answering and just order the wine. This is the fantasy part. The part where the money does exactly what you thought it would. Freedom. Silence. Distance from worry. It lasts maybe 5 months. Then the friction starts. Your brother asks for $50,000 to start a pressure washing business. You say yes. 3 months later, he asks for another $30,000 because the first attempt didn't work. You say no. He stops talking to you for 8 months. A friend from college reaches out about an investment opportunity. Real estate in Florida. Guaranteed returns. You run it by Paul, your tax attorney. He says it's a bad deal. You say no. The friend tells people you've changed. Your cousin's husband sends you a lawsuit threat over a loan you never agreed to. It gets dismissed, but it costs you $18,000 in legal fees just to make it go away. You hire a personal security consultant, not because you're paranoid, because Miranda insists. 2 incidents happened near your old address. People showing up asking questions. You move. You don't tell anyone where. The hardest part is not the money leaving. It's that you stop working. You quit your job 4 months in. You thought that would feel like freedom. It feels like floating. No alarm, no schedule, no reason to wake up at any specific time. You start sleeping until 10, then 11. You gain 15 pounds in 2 months. Your wife still works. She's a teacher. She won't quit. You used to think that was stubborn. Now you understand it's the only thing keeping her attached to a version of herself she recognizes. You're losing that attachment. The money didn't change who you are. It removed every external thing that was shaping you. And without the pressure, you don't know what shape you're supposed to hold. Miranda tells you this is normal. She's seen it dozens of times. Lottery winners, inheritance cases, startup exits. The number changes everything and nothing. You still have to decide what to do with your hours. You start volunteering. You fund a scholarship at your old high school. You build a portfolio of index funds and dividend stocks that will outlive you by generations. The $750 million became $380 million. The $380 million became a system. The system became a legacy. And the legacy starts the morning you stop thinking of yourself as the guy who won the lottery and start thinking of yourself as the guy responsible for what happens next. You're not the person who checked those numbers at 9:47 p.m. on a Wednesday anymore. That person thought $750 million was the answer. You know now, it was just the question. The ticket gave you options. What you did after decided everything else. Some lottery winners are broke in 5 years. Others build empires that outlast them by centuries. The difference was never the number on the ticket. It was what they built in the silence after the cameras left. You think about that gas station sometimes. The fluorescent lights, the crumpled ticket, the 11 minutes you sat in your car, not feeling anything. You understand now why your heart didn't race. Some part of you already knew. The money wouldn't make you different. It would just make everything you already were impossible to ignore. Your daughter is 4 now. She doesn't know the number. She won't for a long time, but she'll inherit the system. The trusts, the index funds, the philosophy that wealth is responsibility, wearing a price tag. Somewhere tonight, someone is checking their ticket under fluorescent lights. Maybe the numbers match. Maybe they don't. If they do, the next 10 years will teach them what you learned. The lottery changes your lifestyle.